What's going on, everyone? Welcome to the first of its kind, a live Litecast. I'm Austin Keeney. I'm joined by Matt Nelson. We are on the CF After Dark Network. Matt, did you ever think we'd make it here?
Never did, but here we are. Who would have thought?
Who would have thought, man? How's it going? How's the week starting off for you?
It's been good. Got a busy week, and glad we could make this work. Plenty to talk about with Iowa State, with college basketball, with the Big 12 being bizarre.
It's already been a weird Tuesday night for the folks that are with us.
Oh my gosh, has it ever? Can't wait to get to that. On top of it, Keeney, it's conference tournament week. I was out here live betting the Horizon League play-in game last night between the Cleveland State Vikings and my IU Indy Panthers.
Yeah, how'd that end up working out for you?
That didn't work out great for me. I do a point of pride before we get started. My wife asked, she's like, "Are you really interested in this game? Is there a specific reason?" I'm like, other than the bet I've placed. She asked if I even knew the mascot of the team I had wagered on. And Keeney, I nailed it. I knew they were the Panthers. How about that? Does that mean I have a problem?
No. Well, you didn't win, so maybe that's the problem. All right. We probably should just dive in with the Iowa State stuff first, though. I mean, or do you want to
talk about? Yeah, let's start there.
All right. So, do we do basketball? I mean, obviously, the news of the day was women's gymnastics. We're not even going to pretend that we know any sort of nuance about the situation. But
it's us. I did attend one gymnastics meet this year. Does that make me an expert?
You know what? It makes you more of an expert than I am, to be completely honest. But I guess I should ask you. So, we are going to be replacing the women's gymnastics program with a different women's sport. Where do you stand on some of the ones that have been thrown out there? What are you hoping Iowa State ends up picking up?
There's no like women's esports league, right? That would be great. Like an Iowa State League of Legends. No.
Let's look at the ones that have been thrown out there as a possibility.
Let's talk about those. Women's wrestling makes the most sense. This is Iowa after all. That's probably what I'm in the most in favor of. I do think, Keeney, flag football would be electric to watch. Just from a perspective of we all love football and cannot get enough. It seems like that sport is getting traction. So I would really be excited to see that sport. We've got Thomas in here saying support for women's wrestling. I think, Keeney, that's got to be the consensus from the fan base, correct?
It makes the most sense if you're looking at local talent base. Obviously, it's Iowa.
Care factor, right? Just in general.
I think it'd be easiest to get fan support, for women's wrestling, and also I think it's Iowa State's best opportunity to be like competitive immediately.
Correct. Yeah,
I'm not sure how many programs have it right now, but you have to imagine. I know Iowa does. You'd have to imagine Iowa and Iowa State would have a leg up on being like two potentially premier national programs.
Correct. Yeah. I know it's taken off at the high school level, but there aren't very many places that do it yet. I think like Ames High wrestles with a few schools in Des Moines and a few kind of scattered throughout the Big 12 or the state. So it's not from a Big 12 level. I'm not even sure how many programs have that, but clearly the other big in-state program does. And yeah, it would make a lot of sense. But right. Flag football. Would you watch flag football if it was on ESPN Plus? I probably would.
I would be. Yeah, I'd definitely be compelled to check out some flag football.
It's football. We love football.
Yeah, I think I saw that one did get thrown out a little bit. Apparently travel would be an issue because not a lot of programs have. I guess what do you play it in the fall or do you play it in the spring? How's that going to work?
I would say you'd have to have enough local programs doing it. It's not like we can like fly them out to UCLA to play out there, right? And that also limits some of the sports that you could add. Are there many women's lacrosse programs? I don't know the answer. I know, there's been a lot thrown out, but I think geography kind of limits you in some respects.
All right, let's. Should we do hoops? Ready to do some basketball talk?
Man, I'm ready.
Okay, so obviously Iowa State last night went out to Arizona, took a loss, 73-57. You've had 24 hours, close to 24 hours to marinate on it, Matt. Are we cooked, or was this just a not great night against a really good team?
Hold on. Underwater basket weaving. That's right.
I'm not getting in the Little Tykes car tonight.
I think that's what every college athlete's supposedly studying, right? Underwater basket weaving. Okay. No. Oddly enough, calm, right? Like I've erased that game from my memory for several reasons. One, on what planet is winning that game any sort of a realistic expectation? I'm not even here for they were backed in a quarter, need to win that game. You are playing literally the best team in the country on the road. Any sort of expectation in that game is a fool's errand. So that's number one. Number two, Keeney, have you seen some of these absurd stats about Arizona? Like they would be the highest rated KenPom team any of the last 5 seasons.
And yet they're not number one in KenPom this year.
And yet that's correct. That which is just perplexing to me. For those of you who aren't KenPom, stands or however you want to call it, basically every year you could look at what is the number one team rated efficiency metric wise, and like how does that compare to number one from the 25 season, the 24 season, all the way back. And evidently their rating is crazy high. Kenny, it's been that way all year. Like the top of the sport this year, I think, is historically better than what we've seen in past seasons. So I'm not shocked by
Arizona's an excellent team.
Yeah, correct.
I think this erases any sort of belief that you might have that maybe Iowa State is swimming in those waters and that Iowa State is like on the level of an Arizona and a Duke and a Michigan and a Florida. Like, I think this kind of cements you as being in that second tier of teams. Like, there's a lot of good teams out there, but there's a lot of teams out there that have flaws, is what it feels like. And Iowa State is just not a perfect team. They've got some flaws that have been exposed in the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, and should we cover some of those flaws right now? I mean, we can get into. I want to get into a few specifics about the game. There are a few things I liked, a few things that drove me nuts. But I just want to say, in terms of this team compared to like Arizona specifically, compared to, I mean, can only imagine Duke, right? Michigan. I want to get one thing that you see as glaring, because I'll give you mine, and that is the ability to have guards who can create their own shot. Some of that is Arizona's solid defense, but Momcilovic could not get open. He was downright shoving, like 2-arm shoving the defender at times to try to create space. I don't know how he didn't get whistles for it. But like Curtis Jones could pull up and hit that type of jumper. Taman is as close as we're getting to it right now, Keeney, where sometimes in this sport you need bucket makers, guys that can make a mid-range 2, guys that can take a contested 3. And Momcilovic has done that at times, but has struggled against some of those elite athletes like we saw. So to me, that's the number one thing missing. I'm not even going to say that last year's team had it. Keeney, when I say this, I'm honestly referring to like Isaiah Brockington or Mariel Shayok, that type of player. I think we're missing. Kurt was an incredible 3-point shooter, and there were games where he could do that, but you don't really kind of have that alpha lead guard that can go out and buy you hoops when you need them. What about you?
I think healthy Keyshawn Gilbert would have been that guy, but we didn't obviously get to see it at the end of last year. Yeah.
I'd agree with that.
Taman wants to do it. He's just not a reliable enough shot maker, which is,
right.
It is what it is with him at this point. Like he's an all-time program legend. I love that Taman Lipsey has been a Cyclone. It's been great watching him for 4 years. We know about his offensive limitations. He's just not a great shooter. And I don't even know how messed up his shoulders are. We'll maybe find out at some point at the end of the year. But no, I think the thing that really stood out last night to me is just that Joshua Jefferson did not play a good game. That's not going on the highlight reel for him. He's supposed to be an All-American. He will probably still make an All-American team, but I mean, look at that stat line. 2 of 17 from the field, 0 of 5 from 3, 4 turnovers, 4 fouls. He was in foul trouble all night. Like, he just consistently was not effective when he was on the floor. And that's, Arizona's got a really good front line, but if you got a player of Joshua Jefferson's caliber, he's got to step up in that game, and he didn't.
Yeah, it was pretty rough, right? There's no question. Didn't finish, looked visibly frustrated. Some of that was Arizona's defense. Some of it was he just had a really bad night, but everyone did, right? 2 straight shooting performances against, I'll say this. They would have had they shot a more normal percentage, they would have maybe had a chance to beat Tech because of the foul disparity, right? We shot a ton of free throws in that game. Keeney, had we shot our normal percentages against Arizona, it would not have mattered, I don't think. I don't know that you can shoot normal percentages against that team. How can you? With the way that they defend, with their size inside. That was the number one thing that stood out to me, Keeney, was we were pretty physical in that game. Arizona is just that much more physical. Their size, some of those rebounds that those guys were grabbing, we were in pretty good position, but because they can leap and they're long, even when we did have decent box out, they still sometimes got rebounds where I was like, oh, we should be able to grab that board. And they're strong. They can stay in front of you. I think they foul a lot. I think they grab a lot. I think we're used to that. We see that with Houston. A lot of teams accuse us of doing that. So
we do that too. You dare the refs to call it enough times.
We actually, a lot of people thought, even France said, like, Arizona did not look all that terrific in that game. We made them look okay. And again, if Iowa State shoots a normal percentage, that's a couple point game. But we didn't. And some of that was, I think a lot of that was largely driven by 2 things. And this is where let's kind of get into what went wrong in that game and then what the positives are. We talked about Arizona's defense already, but the 2 things I noticed is absolute utter hesitancy to shoot around the rim. Like, terrified of the shot blockers. There were several times, one that I remember, Jefferson had a turnover passing to Buchanan. He was literally under the rim. Like, he was at the rim. There's no reason he couldn't have gone up and 2-hand dunked it. And instead he dished it to a hard-cutting Buchanan, and it was a turnover, right? Several times where, other than Lipsey's kind of off-balance shot, we were near the rim, and no one had any desire to try a floater, to try to attack the shot blocker. We did that against Tech. We drew a ton of free throws, but clearly we were not comfortable with their size. With Krivas being 7'2" and having, ungodly long arms. I don't know if that was coaching, Keeney. They told them not to do that. I have a hard time believing that, though. It felt to me like they'd seen enough tape, and they were like, I really don't feel like getting swatted. A few times Torrey took it. He did, right? So now, how many teams are you going to play that are that good defensively, Keeney, with that size? I don't think it's a shame to not be the same caliber as Duke, Michigan, and Arizona, Keeney, because they are clearly in a class by themselves this year. And that's okay. Those teams are deeper, they're more talented, they're more physical. But I think in this game specifically, Keeney, that's what I saw that really affected us, was we were clearly severely bothered by their length.
I want to push back on that a little bit, because I mean, Matt, you're right about like what went wrong, but how many teams are you going to play? The counter to that would be, hey, if you think you're one of the 4 best teams, then you're going to have to beat somebody of that caliber to get to the Final Four or win a national championship. Like, you think your team is national championship good, then you got to show the ability to deal with it and find an answer. And it just feels like right now we don't have enough answers on offense. Teams are really focused on trying to not let Milan catch the ball. Like, feels like he's the primary focus of everybody's defense at this point, and we don't have a second option. We just, Blake Buchanan standing at the top of the key with the ball, running dribble handoffs with guys, and it would have helped if we shot it normally, because you can stretch their defense out. I mean, once we missed all those shots early, it's like, Arizona's just going to pack it in the paint. I don't know if it would have been enough to, like,
that's a good point,
flip the result, but we would have definitely been competitive.
Let me rephrase. Tech shot on such a heater, Keeney. If it would have taken a Herculean effort, it would have taken your best game in like any of the last 2 seasons to beat a team that shoots 60% from the field and 58% from 3. That is obscene. Like, they ran into a team. Some of those closeouts were fine. They just made unbelievable shots. That's a great point by our friend TDM there, that they actually might have been in that game had they shot better, right? Keeney, if you shoot normal to start that game, you maybe are tied at half instead of down 10 or even ahead, because we kind of had them in a really good spot. And then they got behind, and then they really started to press. Keeney, this was where I was going with this, is struggling to make shots, right, for Mount Chilievich to get open, but rushing a lot of those shots we were taking in that game, Keen Dog, were 10 seconds into the shot clock. And I was keeping track. I want to say 14 of our first 16 shots were three-point attempts. We're a good shooting team percentage-wise, but that cannot be the goal. It can't be, right? It's not. You know why we're a good shooting team on the season? And Mom Chilievich is part of it, Keeney. He's a cheat code. But when we move the ball, we get open looks. That's how Nate Heisey gets 3 open looks, and Bateman gets open looks. And Jefferson has been able to show he makes open looks. Honestly,
for a while, but not lately.
Not lately, and like I didn't realize Lipsy's 3-point percentage had dipped below 30. But
that's
in
out
general,
there too. Jefferson is shooting 30% from 3 in Big 12 play. Like you can tell, like Torre's just not hitting threes anymore, and he's not getting guarded anymore. And
right.
Bateman is a freshman. You know, he can heat up. He can make 4 threes like he did last night, but he could also go 0 for 5. You know, it's just he's not consistent enough yet.
But I think we can make those, Keeney, if the ball moves, if we get good looks. I think as you go early in the season, our quality of looks were better, right? I think we've had to force some. I really do. And that is maybe more of an endemic situation with the offense. I think there are several things that play into it, right? Lipsy's shoulder is clearly not healthy. Like, look at the arc on his shots. You can actually tell when he's going to make it. If it has any loft on it at all, Keeney, it's going to go in. Like that turnaround he made in the lane, he actually got air on it. But you can tell when he shoots, it seems to me like there's only a certain amount he can raise his shoulder over his head.
And that guy's going to die on the floor for Iowa State.
That's right. And I love him for it. We're going to celebrate that on Saturday. But I noticed several times where, you know, he was kind of clutching at his shoulder. A lot of times it was his left, I noticed, Keeney, not his right. But he's clearly, like, shoulder-wise, nowhere near healthy. But like with Jeff, take him aside for a second. Like, Josh is super talented. I think he's kind of in his own head right now. He's had some really poor performances here in a row, the last 2 specifically, where he's turning it over a little. And he just needs to get back to passing the ball, more movement, right? He was really effective early in the year. We had a lot of high-low, and he would distribute a lot. And right now, the offense is Jeff turn with your back to the basket. And it's not.
He is. Yeah, he's got to be a distributor, not an isolation scorer.
Earlier in the year, right?
That's what we got to try and get back with him. Is he's got to be,
and he's better when he gets down. He's better when he can. Yes, agreed.
We'll see what we can do. There's probably some levers we can pull. I guess Matt, you did call it out, but I guess we should say, yeah, the defensive effort was really good last night. We rebounded excellent. Yeah. We just didn't convert those offensive rebounds, especially into points.
Let's focus on the positives, right? So, Keeney, by and large, I actually thought the defense was quite good. One nitpick there is fouling as soon as we get into the double team is really hurting our efforts right now. Several times you had really good traps along the corner by the 3-point line, and somebody fouled. Racked up too many fouls, and that trap is not effective when we do that. So that's one. And I think they're still able to pass out of the high trap a little too easily. But in general, I thought effort-wise, Keeney, this was as quick as we've rotated. The rotations were clearly better. You can tell TJ chewed some ass on rotations and rebounding. Because, Keeney, what was better? Rotations and rebounding. Overall effort, much better. They were able to get out in transition. They did get some steals. Keeney, there were some times in that first half where they needed to get a stop, and they actually did get a stop. Even some points in that second half, right? That little run they went on. So there were moments, but I think at the end of the day, the lack of offense is what cost you that game. It was certainly not effort, rebounding, defensive rotations. And what's the last thing that's been plaguing everybody, Keeney? It's been free throws.
Well, we fixed that, and then we stopped.
Everything else goes to hell. But if I were to tell you, like, 3 games ago, we fixed those 4 things, you'd be like, oh, hell yeah. Like, this is great. This is exactly what we needed to fix. But, Keeney, what does it come at the expense of? Last 2 games, it's been our offense. It has not been good. It was awful against Texas Tech, just awful. I think they started that game 1 for 14, and we basically saw the same exact thing play out. Keeney, they need a couple get-right games. And really, as of right now on the schedule, you only have one, and that's Arizona State. And They're feistier than I would maybe care for, but still a team that you should really take care of. If they shoot in the 20s again, 3 games in a row, mark me as officially terrified for March, right? But sometimes you don't have it. I wanted to pop this up, and I guess this kind of gets into, I guess before I do any more thoughts on the game, like between this and the Tech game, I really think it's 2 things. It's against Arizona, you shot horribly and you played the best team in the country. Against Tech, you shot horribly, and had you shot normally and played a little bit better defense, you could have won that game. But the offense is not the reason they lost to Texas Tech. They ended up scoring 72. It wasn't a real efficient 72. But Keeney, we could not get stops, could not guard. And Tech had some guys that just made some insane shots down the stretch. Long twos, mid-range twos, contested threes at the end of the shot clock. Like, they were unconscious. And sometimes you have a bad night. So anything else on that before I kind of want to talk about, let's do
some big picture stuff. So we got a few questions in the chat about like, okay, well, what's the bracketology impact from this? That 2 seed that we had. I mean, we had a 1 seed 2 weeks ago, but that 2 seed that we figured was kind of the lowest we could drop to is now in jeopardy. We're looking at a 3. CBS, by the way, CBS's bracketology is so jacked up this year. Like, they don't have anybody doing it. They just have like analytics people doing it.
Yeah, theirs is garbage.
You lose one game at Arizona and we go from a 2 to a 4. Like, that's just not going to happen.
Iowa State they have kept the bad loss off the schedule for what they've lost. Keeney, 3 out of the last 4.
None of them are bad, but
no, they still do.
We're just losing too many games.
I would agree. They still do not have a quad 2 loss. Still don't have a quad 3. The issue is a lot of teams around them do, and we're only 6-6 in Q1 games. Would have really helped to win a few of those. The good news is, right, in terms of who's around you. So you've got UConn Purdue within striking distance, the team that you beat. By the way, Purdue is really struggling right now.
I'm out on Purdue. I'm done. I'm done with them. They are not. I guess when the bracket comes out, I'm going to be really curious to see what 14 seed they're playing. Like, that's how little I think of Purdue right now.
Michigan State should probably be ahead of us anyway. I've been shocked that Michigan State has been this low. I think it's because they just don't have a ton of great wins. They're also 8-5 in Q1, so we're 6-6. So they've taken some losses. Nebraska behind you basically has no good wins. They have one? Like one win you could describe as a good win. And after that, it's Virginia, who's played in a really weak ACC, Kansas, who's got 8 losses, and some really head-scratching ones at that. And, I mean, Keeney, there is a bit of a cliff. You start getting to Alabama, Louisville, Vanderbilt. Those teams have just been piling up losses. Those are all 8, 7, 9, 10-loss teams. Even Texas Tech's got 7 losses, right? So really, Iowa State is solidly inside the top 12 in the country.
I would think so, yeah.
And their non-conference is perfect. No blemishes, with some good road wins, a good neutral win over a St. John's team who's now back in the top 25, a win over an Iowa team who's in the tournament, right? Like, it has helped that TCU has played so well. Cincinnati may not make the tournament, Keeney, but they have pulled themselves at least into the bubble far enough. They're 49th in the net that makes that not a Q1 loss anymore, right? So believe it or not, yeah, I kind of agree with this, that Chris Schubert says they're kind of locked into a 3. If they end up if they end up playing on Wednesday in Kansas City and they lose that first game, Thomas, I see your comment, like, then maybe. But I think it's really hard to slide a ton this late in the year, especially you have to look at the losses, guys. So you lost to Kansas on the road and TCU around the same time. Cincinnati around the same time. Kansas on the road, no one dinged you for. Cincinnati's now a Q1 team. Then you rattled off, 7 out of 8 games you won. Pretty nice stretch there. That one game you lost was to TCU, who now has 20 wins on the season and is very
TCU's
solidly.
A tournament lock, by the way.
No question. They're solidly in.
They better be. They've been hovering around that last 4-in thing. They just won at Texas Tech tonight. Like,
yeah, they're for sure in.
And if you're going to try and tell me that Auburn is on the bubble, Auburn and TCU are comparable teams, I'm just not going to take your opinion seriously.
And losses at Arizona and at BYU don't hurt you. BYU's a tournament team. They've been in the top 25 all year. I know they struggled late, but that's because they've got a one of their best players out. That loss does not hurt you whatsoever. That is always going to be a Q1 game. And the Tech one really doesn't hurt you a ton either, unfortunately. They are right now projected to be a 4 seed, maybe a 5 seed. Right? So, like, Keeney, you have lost to – you've got what do we have? Is it 6 losses now? 5? 6 losses. 5 of those are tournament teams. And basically 3 out of those 5 were all – 4 of those 5 were all top 25 of the tournament teams, right? So that's the thing. It's hard to find too much fault with their resume. We don't have as many Q1 wins as some other teams, but and I think the metrics maybe drag us down a little bit, but it would really take a lot, I think, to push them to a 4. Kenny, I would say 2 is still possible. You beat Arizona State. You win one game in Kansas City. It seems to me like you could probably work your way up to the top 3 seed or maybe back to a 2 seed potentially. But a lot has to happen.
We are about to enter a portion of the schedule where you can pile up some quad 1 wins, which is the next thing I wanted us to talk about. It's just implications for the Big 12 tournament now. So
boy, what a wild night, Keeney. Boy, that has sure changed pretty dramatically, has it not?
For Iowa State's sake, I still think we're going to be stuck as the 5 playing on Wednesday. With
most likely.
It would take a real collapse from Kansas basically to make that happen. And Matt, I'm going to tell you, please do not look at who Kansas plays in their last regular season game because we need them to lose both of them.
Yeah.
You know who they play?
Yeah, it's Kansas State.
At Allen Fieldhouse. I'm just going to go ahead and say they are not losing that game. So, yeah, I mean, just prepare yourself for Wednesday early. Iowa State playing as the 5 seed in Kansas City. Not really looking at the bracket to see who the 12 and 13 is. We don't really know that until the end of the week, but I think Kansas is in a battle tonight with Arizona State, which maybe doesn't make you feel better because Arizona State's coming to Hilton and we're going to take their best shot. But Texas Tech losing might knock them back down to the 4. So we could be looking at a rematch with Tech if we advance to Thursday.
Yeah, because did Tech beat Arizona?
Tech did beat Arizona. They won at Arizona. So basically we don't have the tiebreaker. Houston's the only team up at the top that we have tiebreakers against at this point.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, sounds like we're pretty well locked into Baylor in Kansas City. A Baylor team that, to say scuffling, is putting it nicely.
Well, Baylor is starting to rebound. So they won at UCF. They're going to be frisky. We didn't play them great at Hilton. I'm going to go down to Kansas City. TJ does kind of own Scott Drew, but I'm not going to go into that game thinking like, okay, this is a walk in the park. So, and then if you win on Thursday, you're looking at Arizona on Friday. So tough sledding in the Big 12 tournament if you're going to get down there and win some games.
Yeah, for sure. I think to feel better about life, I didn't realize that they had both tiebreakers. Yeah, if Kansas would do the funniest thing possible and lose to Kansas State, then yes, that would
get you out of Wednesday, and that would have you or you're still playing as the 4 essentially at that point.
Yeah. So they're either the 4 or the 5, but most likely they're the 5. Boy, wouldn't that be funny?
Which maybe it's not a bad thing that you get one more game under your belt before you got to start playing tough games, but
honestly, with the way this team is playing, it may not be a chance to. Now, if you lose that one to Baylor, that would be rough.
Then you're just talking about anybody going into the tournament expecting Iowa State to do anything is just. I mean, we're just going to be completely.
Yeah, the expectations would turn into what a lot of fans are thinking, right? And that is that this team has totally faded. They've pulled a Fran McCaffrey, and they're going to bow out early. So I think Iowa State should be a 3 seed. I guess there's a chance they drop to 4 and a chance that they are a 2, but that's probably a little bit slim. I think.
How are you feeling, Matt? You're going to be down in Kansas City. Yeah. How are you feeling now about going down there to watch Iowa State?
I'm not thrilled about Wednesday because I'm not even sure that I can get myself down there for that game. I suppose I probably can, but we were planning on like a Thursday situation here. Keeney, I actually don't mind that this team is going to get a Wednesday game. I don't. You know why? Do you feel comfortable with the way we played the last 2 with a win over Arizona State and then getting matched up immediately against Kansas or Texas Tech? The answer is no. Unless you want to bow out of the tournament
Kansas
early.
I'll qualify with Darren Peterson's not playing on the glass court. He's going to come up with a reason to not play, which makes them a little bit less dangerous. But so I believe how the tiebreakers will work is Kansas beat Arizona and we didn't. So if we are tied directly with Kansas, they have the tiebreaker because we split the head-to-head series. So I don't see how we get above Kansas. And then obviously we lost head-to-head to Texas Tech. So if it's a 3-way tie, Kansas won at Tech. I think they would still be the ones that are vaulted up above. So we didn't perform great against the teams that we're going to be fighting for seeding with. But
I'd be curious if the 3-way tiebreaker is different than the.
I don't think it is because Kansas beat Tech, and then they split with us, and then Tech beat us and split and lost to Kansas. Like we lost to both Tech and Kansas.
Evidently, Bill Self just got ejected.
He did, apparently.
That's fun. Allegedly.
So, can't wait to watch the second half of that one when we finish up here.
The old staged ejection. No, what I'm saying is I think
Kansas is down 15. Is Arizona State going to come into Hilton and beat us on senior day? Like, are they just going to be on a generational eater?
They're going to get it all out of their system right now and we'll be fine. I mean, yeah, there's 2 ways this goes, right? You beat ASU, you beat Baylor, and then now you've won 2 straight. Hopefully the offense gets back on track and you're feeling a little bit better about things going into that Thursday game. Keeney, maybe also this team is just cooked. And we are generally pretty optimistic. And Keeney, I truly don't believe that, right? Like, I still have confidence that when it matters in the NCAA tournament or the Big 12 tournament, that there will be better focus, attitude, rebounding. Like, we saw a lot of, if the shooting looks a little bit better last night in Tucson, we feel completely different about this conversation. Since they shot horribly, that's what we remember. But someone earlier in the comments said sometimes you have an off night, and they've had, I think, a really truly an off one against Tech, and then Arizona. We shot poorly, but Arizona's defense is nasty, right? That's part of the reason we looked so bad last night. But crazy stuff happens in this league all the time. We're talking about right now Kansas down at Arizona State, and Self just got ejected. TCU just walked in and beat Texas Tech. UCF smoked BYU on the road right after they beat us, right? You can say,
lost to Baylor at home.
Then lost to Baylor at home. And you say, oh, that shows that, Iowa State's really struggling. Or it could just show that this league is wacky, right? Like, I think to me, can you look at what's happened in the top 10 behind us for the last 2 weeks? It's been quite a bit of carnage. Some teams taking losses they should not. Illinois has been racking up losses in a bizarre way. UConn took a really bad loss to Creighton, which now it seems like everybody's completely forgotten. You know why, Keeney? Because who else in the top 10 has been performing well?
Yeah, it's just it's the top
nobody,
the top
right?
4 basically, and then
correct. Everybody else. Look at Purdue. Again, we are not the only team in this spot. Look at what's been happening at the very back end of the top 25, Keeney. Have you kept up with what's happened to Alabama, Arkansas, Kentucky, and the SEC? Those teams are just stacking losses. Vanderbilt stacking losses.
I'll tell you what team I'm keeping up with in the top 25, and that's Miami, Ohio.
Miami of Ohio. But you see what I'm saying?
Where do you know? Hey, they're not losing. Everybody else is.
The top 25 right now is just kind of a mess. Honestly, like who is playing well right now, Keeney? I was going to say Virginia because Virginia had looked really good, and they just got absolutely smoked because guess who's Virginia has gotten to play a lot of really bad ACC teams, right? Do you trust any team in the ACC that's not Duke? I'll tell you the answer to that question is no. So anyway, that's just where I'm going with this. Like Illinois just lost a booger of a game to UCLA. Vanderbilt is losing right now to Ole Miss. Again, the Bama got beat by Georgia tonight.
What's Ole Miss's record? Lenardi probably has them on the bubble now.
That probably does have them on the bubble. Like, I think you just start cheering for more chaos. Nebraska's at UCLA tonight. They play at 10. They might lose that game, right? Like
we have Bill Self ejected, and Kansas's interim coach is getting technicals as well. I got to be watching this game. I got to know what's going on down in Tempe.
Like I don't know that's just where I feel about this, Keeney. Like this, it has been a really weird year for college basketball. Like honestly,
well, Matt, you know what we need to talk about now I'm gonna let you finish your thought, but then we gotta get into this. Honestly, this is the thing I was most looking forward to talking about with you. It's did you have anything else before we get to
you want to talk about the Horizon League? I know you do. I can see it on the horizon.
I'm officially 0-1 in betting on these tournaments too, because I had Purdue Fort Wayne tonight against Green Bay. Didn't get home.
What's Fort Wayne's mascot?
They're the Mastodons, which is an awesome mascot.
The Dons, I love it.
I do not want to talk about Dom Nelson. Sorry.
I knew we were going to get chatter with his little run there late in that game yesterday.
It's a bit this point if you're still doing the Dom Nelson thing in the chat. I got to say, okay,
it's a good bit.
No, it's not. I'm actually really annoyed by it now.
No, I'm going to keep showing all these Dom Nelson chats. We got one, Keeney.
All right.
Hold on. Literally, the second live comment, the minute we went live, is why Dom Nelson isn't getting more minutes.
Okay. You can, if you super chat us, if you pay us, I'll put your Dom Nelson comment on the screen. How about that?
No more free Dom Nelson comments. I like it.
No, we got to talk about the Sun Belt. All right. So
no little tight cars tonight.
I already used that up. I'm hoping that it works on Saturday. If we win on Saturday, I'll probably get in the car again. But all right, it's conference tournament.
Hold on. You talk about the glass floor real quick. Did you see Matt Van Winkle share the meme of Jerome Tang cleaning the Windex glass floor?
That was
the T-Mobile Center. I thought that was incredible.
That was fantastic. Yeah, I'm curious to see does it play like a normal basketball court? I would imagine it has to. I don't know. And I really hope they're not doing animations while the game is happening. That would be.
They were showing the court changing and the 3-point line and the lanes all disappear for a split second and then they come back. Could you imagine going to take a three and then all of a sudden the 3-point line disappears?
It would really bother me if they're doing that during play. I really hope they're not. Okay, timeouts, whatever. You want to put ads on it, whatever, but not while the game is happening.
Someone's going to hack into it and be playing Call of Duty on the court while the game is going on. That'd be great. Okay, conference tournament season. We have mid-major tournaments going on right now.
It's tournament time. All right.
I'm in your way.
This is the best 2 weeks of the year, by the way. I actually prefer this week and next week to the start of the NCAA tournament, if we're being completely honest. But we've got everybody playing, and right now the mid-majors are taking the spotlight. And mid-major Matt is what they call you. So I kind of want to just leave this open-ended. What tournaments are you looking out for this week? And I've got a few of them myself. Let's good comments. Good comments, people.
We got to talk. Hold on. Before we get there, we got to talk about. Yeah, I can't put that one on the screen. Can we please talk about some of these brackets? What we've had.
That's where I want to start. So the first one I'm looking at is the Sun Belt because
dude, it's incredible.
You saw this monstrosity, right?
Can you flash it up here?
Yep.
I need the people to be able to see this shenanigans that we are talking about. Look at the stairway to 7. It's a guinea. It's incredible.
I said I would do it. Thank you, Tom, for the $2. Tom Nelson he would be a really good player in the Horizon League.
Probably would be. That's great.
The stairway to 7. That's right.
So we had a 5-way tie, and Troy and Marshall got buys, but I believe it was Texas State. No, one of these teams. I forget which one.
One of these teams right here, but Matt, do you know who the number 1 rated team in KenPom is in the Sun Belt? You want to take a guess? It's Arkansas State, and they're the 7 seed in the tournament because they lost all the tiebreakers and they were in that tie for second. So they have to win 5 games to get into the tournament, and they're analytically the best team in this conference.
Yeah, because there was a 6-way tie for second, and they lost them all. So they go from now potentially being the number 2 seed to having to win 5 games. It's incredible. It's theater. What more can you ask for? Keeney, they're not the only tournament to have that sort of a goofy setup, but they're by far the most hilarious. I personally love the Horizon League, where it is basically just a bunch of play-in games. And then it's whichever highest seeds are remaining, we're just going to build a bracket out of them. And I also love. Can you see that Horizon League logo there? Does that not look like a hotel chain? Does that not look like Continental Breakfast? Look at the new Horizon League logo. I mean, that looks like I'm a silver member, and I'm gonna turn in some points for a free muffin at the front desk. I love this Horizon League rebrand. It's incredible. More leagues should do this, by the way. Okay.
Do you have an actual tournament that you want to talk about? Like, I think this team is going to win this tournament and they're going to be a threat. I've got one. I think we got to start in your favorite conference, Matt. We got to start in the Missouri Valley. Okay. So Matt, for anybody who doesn't know, Matt, you're a Drake and UNI hater, and I don't think you got to worry about either of them making the tournament this year.
Thankfully. UNI has had an okay year, correct?
I think they've actually had a really disappointing year because their expectations were to be pretty good.
They had high expectations.
They're fine, but like they should have been better than 6th in the Valley. But the team that you got to look out for here is Belmont. They're the best team in this league by far. They have a really efficient offense, and if they get in the tournament, if they get that 12 seed, they will beat a 5. I'm calling my shot on this team right now. Like, have you watched 1 minute of Belmont this year?
Not a single second, Keeney.
Okay. I just lost Illinois State at the end of the regular season.
I got to stick to the bit here.
But
I got to stick to the bit.
Mr. Non-Missouri Valley, I get it. But, like, Belmont's really good. This tournament's just really fun because 2 through 7 are just a coin flip. So there's going to be a heck of a chase to see who I think gets to play Belmont in the finals. And it should be, I mean, it's the premier tournament of the week. And Matt, you don't have to worry about Drake winning it this year.
It makes me feel better. I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, I mean, you're not in on the Big South.
I'm a little in on the Big South. I guess you and I had injuries this year. I did see they beat up Drake on Sunday. Yeah, regular season finale. Big South, High Point and Winthrop are both good. Good-ish. Good for mid-majors. By far the 2 best teams in that league. Just if you're looking for good basketball, hope that they match up with each other in the championship game.
Yeah. Gosh, there's one more league, Keeney, that I'm interested in. The Sun Belt. I love it. The Fun Belt. Keeney, it's kind of a cop-out because it is one of the bigger leagues, but I think the WCC is actually interesting. So you had St. Mary's get a share of the title. They technically are the 2 seed, which I think is wild.
They're another step ladder one too.
Correct. Another step ladder. I believe
got it up on the screen here.
Who was it who beat Gonzaga earlier in the year? Was it Portland? Some really random team, but Santa Clara is actually quite good. They are a pretty good program. I know it's the WCC, right? But a lot of times in that league, it's basically just 2 programs. But Santa Clara, St. Mary's, if they play each other, should be a really good game because I think Santa Clara is probably tournament bound. We'll see. They may be on the outside looking in, and then St. Mary's is always worth watching because I'm always going to pick them to win a game or 2 in the tournament, Katie, and what's going to happen.
You're always going to be wrong. I feel like I'm the complete opposite on St. Mary's. I am had by them every year. I don't think their style can win. I don't think they can win games in the tournament doing what they do.
I am just perpetually had every time. I'm like, oh yeah, they're really good. They've had a really good year. They're going to win. Nope. We've got to give some love to the MAC. I think the MAC's going to be exciting. We don't have a bracket yet. That is kind of a 2-horse race. It's Akron and Miami of Ohio. And Kenny, here's how much of a ball knower I am. Miami of Ohio only actually had to play Akron once. I believe it was at home. They dodged them on the road due to an unbalanced schedule. That's going to be a really good game. Akron is a pretty decent team metrics wise.
I think Akron's metrics are actually a little better than Miami.
Yeah, they're a good team. They the way the schedule broke, they kind of got lucky with how that played out. So I think that's going to be a really good tournament. I'm actually kind of disappointed. Normally the MAC has a lot better programs than it does this year. Hasn't been nearly quite as competitive. But that'll be one to watch. Really, I mean, the American, like Navy and Tulsa, have been decent. Like they're okay.
Matt, I need to break something to you.
What's that?
Navy's not in the American for basketball.
Oh, they're
Do you know
not.
that?
Are they the
They're in
Pat
the
League?
they're in
They're
the
the Pat
Patriot
League.
League.
Yeah, that's right.
They are a real sentimental. Like a lot of people are going to be rooting for them this week because they haven't. I don't think they've been to the tournament since they had David Robinson,
Long time.
and they are far and away the best team in the Patriot League this year. But feel like they've been down this road before, and they lose in the conference tournament. This is where it's a little bit unfortunate that.
Yeah, and believe it or not,
Like,
we've seen upsets come out of the Pat League with Bucknell, with American University, Lehigh, Loyal America, Colgate, right? So like, there's usually a couple of decent, a decent tournament team that comes out of the Pat League.
I'm worried about Navy. Like I would really, really like to see them get into the tournament. I think it'd be a fun story, but it just I don't know. The sentimental ones, the teams that everybody's rooting for, don't always get home.
No, and the only other one I could say that the Southland Conference, Keeney, the SLC, McNeese and Stephen F. Austin are both pretty good teams. If you look at like a mid-major power ranking, McNeese has basically been in the top 10 all year, and Stephen F. Austin's 26-4. They both have really good records. It's kind of a two-team league, but that should be really competitive. And McNeese has won tournament games, right? Like it's a pretty good program at this point. Stephen F. Austin is too, for that matter. So I actually think that'll be a really fascinating one to watch. I have one more team. Oh, go ahead.
Yeah, there will be one game to watch in the Southland tournament, and it's the championship game.
It'll be the champ. Yeah.
They, again, step ladder. A lot of these mid-major leagues are doing it to try and get their best teams into the tournament. Stephen F. Austin, McNeese, they're going to play each other in the finals, and that should be a fun one to watch.
The other tournament that I always love, we got to talk about it, Keeney, because I am, for all the hate I have for the Valley, I am an A10 stan and homer. It's a great
You got to wait a week though to get your bracket.
I know.
We got to talk about the A10 next week.
We'll talk about the A10 next week. But you asked about mid majors. Obviously, St. Louis as a headliner there. Keeney, right now VCU is projected to get into the field on their own merits. They've had a really good year. Dayton is hanging around. Dayton is a really good program. Again, this is a league where when Richmond is good, when Duquesne is good, when teams in this league are good, St. Joe's has done it. They produce upsets. So I think at a minimum, you owe it to yourself to watch St. Louis in the tournament because they're going to be a team that you're probably going to want to pick, or a lot of people in your pools will. And I think VCU is also pretty scary as well. So
St. Louis,
I know we got to wait a week, but Keeney, I always look forward to that tournament immensely.
A lot of people are sort of thinking we could end up matched up with St. Louis in St. Louis as like a 2-7 or a 3-6.
Can we talk about one that's wide open too that I think would be fun to hit on, Keeney? And that's the American, home of the Blazers, a team whose initials we do not mention openly on this podcast. But Keeney, that league is about as wide open as it gets. You want to hold on? 1, 2, 3, 4. Keeney, the top 8 programs are separated by 4 games between 17 wins and 21 wins, and after that, it falls off a freaking cliff. So the teams that are decent are the ones we will not mention: North Texas, Tulane, FAU, Charlotte, Tulsa, Wichita State, and South Florida. Tulsa, Wichita State, and South Florida are definitely the cream of the crop. Keeney, I don't know if any of those teams are projected in the field at this moment. I think South Florida is. But that's kind of an interesting one. Normally the American will get 2 or 3 teams in. I'm not sure it's as good this year.
That's another one that you're going to have to wait till next week to really do a deep dive on because they've got a lot of sorting out to do this week. They're still playing regular season games.
This week is a big week for them. And they're still playing regular season games, but that's one that I think will be interesting. Like, none of those teams are necessarily incredible, but it should be fun to watch. So
I think we've kind of hit like our big ones, like mid majors that are going to be a threat to win a game in the tournament, like your Cinderellas that you want to watch this week. Belmont, certainly. Either Stephen F. Austin or McNeese, I think, is capable of winning a game. Matt, can I interest you in the Big Sky?
Oh, I love the Big Sky.
You know what they call their tournament, right? Have you seen this?
No.
So they play it in Boise. They call it Starch Madness.
You're kidding.
No, I am not kidding.
Starch
Starch Madness.
Starch Madness is incredible.
By the way, I just wanted to say Starch Madness. None of these teams are really that good or going to win a game in the tournament, but very balanced league. I read a.
Looks like Portland State will probably be the one that gets in, most likely. Starch Madness. I'm going to be thinking about that all night. We might have lost Keeney. Keeney, go away from the light. Come back to us. He's gone. Well, I was just trying to look up where Portland State is. I'm just going to keep talking to Keeney and act like he's here. I think Portland State is the 1 seed in the Big Sky in Starch Madness. Yeah, 144, 19 and 10. Oof, that's a pretty low. It's a pretty low KenPom ranking for a team that's number 1 seed. So that's rough. Kansas down 20.5. That's shocking. Shocking, especially since you've got an assistant coach picking up technicals. Well, I guess I'm gonna carry it from here until Keen Dog comes back. That was really what we wanted to cover. He says, hold on, be back soon. Follow up to that. Technical disaster. Okay. Yeah. Understood. We'll go through a few more comments before. Okay, here we go. Thank you for this one. We got to have a conversation about the SEC here. I was on the record on the show last week, and I kind of went scorched earth on that league, and I don't regret it because I think it is fraudulent. And what Joe Lunardi is out here doing in these streets with Auburn is atrocious. Atrocious is the only way that I'll describe it. Like, what are we doing? Projecting that team anywhere near the field. They are 15 and 14. We're so solid on Oklahoma being out, who just beat Auburn by like 11, by the way. But then we got to act like Auburn still deserves to belong in this field. Like, I don't get it. Quite frankly, I don't get where Kentucky and Texas get to just be, automatically in and high seeds. Like, again, that league has done nothing but rack up losses. Every team, the best team in that league is Florida at 24 and 6. And they've only got 4 teams in the top 25, Alabama, Arkansas, Tennessee, and they've all just been eating losses for weeks. Like Arkansas, really? Tennessee, really? Like I'm really perplexed by this perception that we have of this league. I don't get it. And overall, the bottom on this league is massive. So I really resent what we're trying to do here with the SEC. It's like because they were really good last year, we've got to just let that translate and carry over and mean that they're going to be really good this year. Arkansas cannot guard anybody. During February, they gave up 117 and 111. Count those as really bad signs for the tournament. I am Georgia tonight beat Alabama by 10. Like, what are we doing here? I think that this league is bad across the board, and I really resent that they're going to try to pack this many teams from this league in. Don't even get me started on Kentucky. Like, I think they have just feasted on some really bad teams. Like, what their best win is Tennessee. I know they played a good non-conference. Like, I get it. They got beat by Gonzaga by like 40. Lost to North Carolina. Just because they played a really good non-conference doesn't mean that they're actually good. And that's what we're doing with Auburn. Because they played a bunch of Q1 games, we are okay. We're going to go pick on Auburn for a second, right? Because I am absolutely sick. Them losing to LSU tonight is exactly what I need. Just finally put them out of their misery. Let's see. How far back do we have to go? Oh my gosh. Is this right? No way. They won 1 game in February. 1 game. They beat Kentucky by 1 point at home. Include losses to Mississippi State, who is awful, Oklahoma, who is awful, and Ole Miss, who is awful. right? Like, what on earth are we doing here? They beat Florida back in January. Like, congratulations. Otherwise, all right, are we really going to hang our hat on a win against Arkansas? Like I just said, Arkansas gives up 100 points regularly. I don't understand what we're doing. And I do actually. I do with Joe Lunardi. I know exactly what he's doing, right? Because it's the SEC, because it's ESPN. There we go. This is exactly what I'm referring to. Thank you, TGM. I would much rather see another A10 team, right? Like, do we want to see a really good top 25 team just blow the doors off of a 15-loss Big Ten or a 15-loss SEC school? For me, the answer is no. I'd rather see a Mountain West team. I'd rather see another Stephen F. Austin, right? That is what makes this sport fun. And I think it's coincidence. I was thinking about this on Sunday. There's two things that have coincided here. One of those is as NIL has rated these smaller conferences, right? Like I think it was just 3-4 years ago, we had 6 Mountain West schools in. It's not going to happen right now, right? We had four A10 teams, multi-bid MVC, he says. I don't think that that's in the cards right now because of what we've done with NIL. And I think we could maybe find a way to fix that, right? Where if they take a player from a mid-major, they've got to give some cash back. I think we could work that out. We do that in soccer or football, as they say across the pond. Right. But stop it with the multi-bid MVC stuff. I don't want to hear it. But I think it also comes back to these leagues getting made to be massive, right? Like in the Big 12 round robin, because we played each other twice, you are not going to have a 16 and 15 team squeak in because they had to play all of the good teams. And most likely they were going to pile up losses against them. You just were, right? But I just told you the SEC basically only has 4 ranked teams right now. I'm not even going to count Vanderbilt because they've lost a gazillion games. Like just because Georgia now gets to play over half their games against non-tournament teams and Auburn gets to play half their games against non-tournament teams, like that now means that they can get in. I think what they've realized is we're just going to play a really good non-conference. And whether we win or lose all that much because we play in a good league, we just get protected. We can hide and just, again, freaking stack up losses. Auburn does not deserve to be in the field. They are 6-11 in league play. That is atrocious. Just flat out atrocious. Right? I do not understand how you can have this conversation. And that is, you make these leagues bigger, this is going to get worse. You're seeing it in the Big 12. Hell, you're seeing it in the Big 10. I want to go pick on the Big 10 for a second here too. They have equally earned my wrath. I'm treating this like a radio show at this bit. Oh, there he is, Keeney. I mean,
you can't make it up, Matt. The whole time we've done After Dark, I haven't had any technical glitches until the first time we do our pod live, and my laptop just decided, you know what, I'm going to go ahead and shut off in the middle of the show.
Dropping the boys off at the pool. He's taking the Browns to the Super Bowl. Keeney, I was ranting about, and I wanted to see if you.
I was listening. I appreciate you carrying the show for me.
The Big Ten's no different. They've got 5 teams in the top 25, Keeney. I think all of these leagues, because we've added, you used to have 10 to 14 team leagues. People played a pretty balanced schedule. But now that you've got effing 11 million teams in the Big Ten, teams like Indiana or USC can try to sneak their way into the field with no good wins. Because it's just like, we're like, well, someone from the middle of the Big Ten has got to get in. UCLA, Indiana, what has Ohio State done to feel like they deserve to be in the field? Yeah, you beat Purdue.
You see, they beat Purdue though. Hey,
congratulations!
They've got a quad 1 win now.
Like what?
Make them a 9 seed. Iowa has 1 good win. Like they manipulated the net in the non-conference. They've avoided bad losses, and that's enough to get an 8 seed now.
Because they're correct, but that's because, Keeney, there's this many more teams in the Big Ten. Again, the point I make, I think, really comes back to the Big 12. If you were not good in the Big 12 on a round robin, you were going to get smoked. You were not going to have a good record. But now that you've got six teams of dead weight instead of just 1 or 2, they can play each other. They're going to get wins against each other. And all of a sudden it makes them look better. I really don't like what we've done to the sport. And those are the teams that we're rewarding and sticking in the tournament. And now we want to expand this thing. Why? So we can make room for 15-15 Oklahoma? Like, what are we doing here? I would much rather that be somebody else. On that note, right, from an Iowa perspective,
we're going like conference by conference, just roasting everybody. Talk to me about Iowa.
Literally, their lone good win is Nebraska.
They beat Nebraska at home, right?
And I'm not going to count I'm not going to count Ohio State at home. They're extremely bubbly, and odds are they're going to miss the tournament. And just in the last 6 games, have two losses that are as bad as you're going to find anywhere in Maryland and Penn State. Those are really bad road. And I know they're on the road. Those are not good losses. Not good. Like some of their wins.
Would you say that Iowa's the fake ID of college basketball season?
The fake ID. Yeah, it's like
would that program know anything about faking stuff?
They have lost at Minnesota as well. Minnesota's not good. Every good team that they've played to, they've lost. And like they're hanging their hat on wins against other bubble teams, Keeney, in Indiana and Ohio State. Are either of those teams any good? Like, are they really any good? If you think about it,
it gets to the philosophical thing of like, okay, would you rather have the team that we already know can't be good teams, or do you want to take the team that didn't get to play good teams, but we don't know if they could beat them or not?
Correct. Yeah, it's perplexing to me. And Keeney, you're right. A lot of it is net manipulation. Like they beat Grand Canyon, Ole Miss, and Xavier non-conference. None of those teams are good right now at all. They're not. But because they were so high in the metrics, Keeney, you remember they got blown out by Michigan State, lost by 19, I think. Beat Maryland, lost to us. So they take basically back-to-back losses. And then they beat Western Michigan and Bucknell, and somehow that's enough to get them into the top 25 at the end of December. Right? 2 losses, and then beating Western Michigan and Bucknell. It's because of the metrics. And they were able to stay in there. And very quickly, right, they lost back-to-backs to Illinois and Purdue and dropped right out. And they have been out ever since. It's a great comment. If they lose, they will lose to Michigan on Thursday. I mean, I'm going to knock on wood, but I don't need to. I'm guessing they're also going to lose to Nebraska. At 20-11, they will probably still be in. Keeney, honestly, they should be in the play-in. Like your one good win is. By the way, you want to talk about another one, Keeney? What's Nebraska's best win? It's Michigan State at home, right? Can you name another good one? Can you name one?
I'd have to look at the schedule, but like
on the road at USC is a pretty good win, and they lost close.
Chad Baker-Mazara made him.
They lost close to. They lost close to Michigan. They lost close to Purdue, right? I will give them that. But again, I mean, on the road at Ohio State and on the road at Indiana, Keeney, we're all these teams are claiming the same wins as good wins. And the wins are against bubble teams.
Wow.
Okay, like at Illinois is a very good win. I guess they have 2. They have home against Michigan State and at Illinois. Those are both good wins. I don't think there's any denying. But their non-conference was putrid. Kansas State and Oklahoma, 2 teams that are awful, right? So like one good home win and one good road win, that makes you a 2 seed or a 3 seed. Their resume to me, Keeney, is nothing impressive. Like I'm not saying that they're not a tournament team because it's clear that they are. But I just wish we could live in a world where we're not claiming these super bubbly teams as these are good wins. And that's where we're
Big
at.
12's not immune to it too. I
agree.
We are very much, Iowa State and the Big 12 are very much a part of this.
Look at what Tech and BYU have done to the league with the way that they've been wildly inconsistent with the losses they picked up. Now, they both have lost incredible players. And it feels unfortunate to me that we kind of got dead. It feels like we got dead cat bounced by both. And feels like, Keeney, everyone is treating us as a Super Bowl. I know that's the cycle in every bit. And I hate it. But I
like the everybody is desperate when they play us and only when they play us, and that Dom Nelson should be playing more. So those are kind of my.
If we've learned anything,
those are my 2 things that check off every time.
Those 2 things. That's right.
Iowa State loses the game. Yeah.
That in, when we come on here next week, I am still going to be yelling at Auburn. Let's just have it be called the Auburn Minute, where I get to complain. You know what they say, Keeney? When the going gets tough, the tough quit. Bo Ryan and Bruce Pearl. They coined that phrase.
Bruce Pearl, man,
what a guy! Get out of here with that guy. Any final thoughts, Keeney?
I was just to say, do you got any general shout outs before we wrap this thing up?
The ladies rebounded really nicely against Kansas State, and I'm gonna give a shout out to my boy Jay. His wife is a strength coach for the team, and I asked Jay, was he worried? He said no. He's like, we feel good about where we're at, and I think we saw that a really nice collected performance from them against Kansas State, who has given them some trouble. And I know it's been disappointing, but Keeney, there is still a really, really, really good team in there. I know there's, they don't always guard well, and some limitations without even been exposed. And I don't know that she's super healthy right now, but I'm excited to see kind of where they can go. We've got their tournament going on, and they're still fun to watch for a number of reasons, right? For Addie, for Audie, AJ's, and Jada, they're fun. And Keeney, I think if they could get themselves to like a 7 seed, they would be a nightmare for probably a 2 seed to play. If you are an 8 or 9, unfortunately, and have to play a 1 seed in women's college basketball, it is a recipe to get smoked. So I'm hoping they can avoid that, but we'll see.
Speaking of girls basketball, I was just going to give a shout out to my high school, Carlisle, made state tournament. I know quite a few kids on that team.
Hey,
Macy Comito is going to be a Cyclone next year. So if anyone needs a reason to care about that, but no, they made the state tournament, won a game today. So
can we give a shout out to the ice cream place in Carlisle?
To Fizz.
Oh, not a sponsor.
I'll do free ads for Fizz. They do not need to pay me. I'm glad that you know about it.
Fizz is incredible. I drive through there a lot for work, and that's a lot of times in the summer. My wife would say it's not lunch, but I'll just go get a crunch cone from Fizz, and we'll call that lunch. Love that place. All
right, they get free ads. They get free ads on
nobody else. Dom Nelson. Right. Dom Nelson needs to play more. Fizz. What's the last thing we've done? Okay, never mind. All right, that's all I've got, man. We should probably get together on Tuesday next week and kind of preview the meat of the rest of the conference tournaments. And
that's right.
I know you'll be locked in on Arch Madness this weekend.
Matt, all right. Thank you for carrying the show. I can't believe my computer died like that, but that's why we do it, folks. You know what?
Shoulder's a little sore.
That's the after dark difference right there. Chris Williams' computer is never going to die in the middle of 2 guys, but with us,
Chris, our laptops combined age-wise, Keeney could maybe run for president. So we maybe need to upgrade the hardware and the firmware around here.
That's right. I'll get the outro video for next time too. I see the countdown. I don't want that. So hold on. Let me see if I can do this right. Yeah. All right. Well, Matt, this was a lot of fun. Thank you for doing this, and we will catch you all next week.